What's going on, guys? Chris here again. I'm back very soon after my last video. I'm gonna do another discography ranking. Been down with COVID for 4 days now, so got nothing to do but listen to music. You be quiet. So basically, this was brought on by watching Alan and Marty's live stream last night. They did an episode all about thrash metal, favorite albums and bands. And they had Melanie Loves Death Metal, I believe is her name, her YouTube name, on the show as well. She was great. I've seen some of her videos, but now that I've seen her on there, I'm gonna go out of my way and watch more. But she was awesome. Anyways, I don't know, because I didn't get to stick around for the whole thing. I don't know if they talked about this band in particular in depth. I know in the comments, I was talking to some people about this band, and I was trying to think as they were talking about newer thrash bands and maybe the lack thereof and why that is and why, you know, the reasons for that. I had mentioned, and some other people had mentioned, Toxic Holocaust being one of their favorite modern thrash bands, and it's probably my favorite modern thrash band, or at least up there. They're a little harsher than what you would, I guess, classify like just regular thrash as. They got some blackened elements. Some of the stuff reminds me a lot of like early Slayer, maybe even like a little bit of Motorhead in there, but just with some pretty gnarly blackened style vocals. Yeah, like I said, they're one of my favorite modern thrash bands. I believe it was only the first two albums. It was a one-man band, if I'm not mistaken. But now and then it became like an actual band. But it was all the first couple albums, I believe, were recorded by just one guy. I'm forgetting the dude's name. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't, because I basically just turned the camera on and here I am. I didn't have to really revisit too many of these, because I've listened to them so many times, and they're all so short. They're kind of easy to remember in that way. I mean, I did go back and listen to them, but not, you know, as in depth as I normally would, because it's more of just like a refresher. This is a pretty easy one for me to rank, as far as, you know, being knowledgeable of the albums, and, you know, there wasn't a whole lot I, you know, forgot about. So yeah, I guess I'll start with, let's see, there's 6 in total, so this will be my number 6, and that is the latest album by Toxic Holocaust, and that is Primal Future 2019, which came out in 2019, obviously. This one's good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not a big fan of the mix on the album. I don't know, it's just a little like muffled sounding in a way. The vocals, there's a lot more, maybe not a lot more, but there's clean, more clean style type vocals on here, as compared to some of the other albums. So yes, this one wasn't my favorite. It's still a good album. I would still check it out. He says hello. But yeah, not my favorite. In fact, it's my least favorite by them. But yeah, still check it out if you never heard it. Still good. But yeah, just not my favorite. The second one I've got on here, or my number 5, I should say, is Hell on Earth, which came out in 2005. I believe the artist who did this cover is the same guy that he's done a bunch of artworks, I think, for Death, Municipal Waste, let's see the one, Megadeth, I believe. And he's got such a distinct style, I mean, you can tell. But the music on here, this is the second album. So it was just, what the hell's the dude's name? I forget the guy's name. I should have looked it up. Anyways, I'll put it in the description, because I'm an idiot. This is really short. This was like 26 minutes or something like that, 25 minutes. I mean, it's barely even an album. it's still really good. The vocals are pretty harsh on here as compared to the first album, and definitely compared to Primal Future. Yeah, it's just really good. It's just good, you know, old school style thrash. It borders, I wouldn't say it borders on black metal at all, because it obviously doesn't, but the vocals are very influenced by black metal style vocals. I mean, they're very harsh, very, not growly, I don't know what the word would be, just very harsh. So yeah, so that's my number 5. My number 4 is Chemistry of Consciousness. Sorry for the glare. This one came out in 2013. This one is different. This one, I mean, not to say that it's not thrash, but there's a lot more, it's a little more nuance. It's not just like straight up, you know, just like, you know, speed thrash, whatever. Not that that's not a good thing, but this one has a little more nuance to it, a little more groove in it. I've noticed, you know, it slows down, you know, at times, which in my opinion is a good thing. As much as I love thrash, and it's one of my favorite genres, and especially when it comes to like subgenres, like death thrash and black thrash are two of my favorite subgenres. Yeah, this one, I can appreciate it more when a band takes its time to slow down a little bit, and it just breaks up, you know, it doesn't make it very monotonous. This is a really good album. Then for my number 3, I have Evil Never Dies. And this is their debut album, or his, I guess at the time, debut album. It's funny because in my notes that I wrote that it reminds me of, especially this one in particular, old school Slayer, like big time. And you can see on the back, I didn't notice till afterwards, I don't know if you can see that because of the glare, but he's wearing a Slayer shirt on the back. One thing I will say about Toxic Holocaust is the album covers and the fonts that he uses, or that they use, and everything, I don't know, it just really sticks out. Like if you were just walking by in a record store and you would see this, you would probably pick it up just to look at it, even if you didn't buy it. But very good about the way they put themselves out there, I think. I mean, it's just really bright, really, but it fits the music. But yeah, this one, the guitar tone is fucking awesome. The vocals are harsh as fuck. It's very punky. Yeah, this one's really good. And again, this one, I believe it's like one of the longer albums, and it's like half an hour. You could listen to basically their entire discography in probably like 2.5 hours. I mean, it's so short. So yeah, then my number 2 is An Overdose of Death, which came out in 2008. Another really good album. This one you can definitely tell. This is their 3rd album. You could definitely see the progression. The first 2 are just pretty much straight up, just, you know, in your face, you know, punk, almost crossover style. Not really crossover, but like that has an element of that to it. But this is just, I mean, they were coming into their own as songwriters, or I believe it's just the main guy that writes the songs. Like, I could be mistaken, but this is the first album that they had a band with him. So maybe he had more time to focus on some more of the writing, which in my opinion, you can definitely tell. It's a little longer, actually. I wrote down this one. This was 35 minutes. So this is probably their longest album, which says a lot. Yeah, just a great fucking album. And then my number 1, I don't know enough about, you know, I don't usually read a lot of reviews online because I don't really like to have my opinion swayed one way or the other. I just like to listen to music and just form my own opinion, and then I'll read reviews after the fact. For the most part. I mean, that's not always true, but and then I of course watch a lot of you guys who make videos. So I don't know if this is like some kind of controversial pick for fans of this band to be my number 1, but it is Conjuring Command from 2011. One thing I did notice, I don't know if it was done purposefully or not, is that the logo's different on just this one album. It's like a cleaner font, no bright colors on this one, just, you know, pretty grim looking actually. And I think that definitely fit the vibe a little bit. This one had a little bit more of a polished sound to it, wasn't as like grainy sounding, if that makes sense. Like, just, it sounded newer. More of an edge, I think, to this one too. I don't know, the artwork just, it really fits the narrative of what this album is. This was the first album I noticed that they really started to slow it down in certain spots. Really let the music breathe a little bit. Not to say that it's slow. When I say they slow it down, I mean, we're talking like, you know, a section of a 2-minute song. We're talking like, you know, a 15-second little breakdown type thing. Nothing like, you know, there's no doom metal on this thing. It's still, even when they slow it down, it's still fast stuff. So that's my number one. They're a great band. If you've never checked them out, please do. I'd say newer thrash is really hard to find nowadays. I would say the only other one that really sticks out to me is Municipal Waste. Evile's another good one. I don't know if they're still around. I think they just put out an album, I think either a couple years ago. Maybe it wasn't as recent as that, but they kind of dropped off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened to them. I think they really picked up steam like way back in the day, and then I don't know, I hadn't heard from them. And of course Power Trip, which they discussed on the live stream last night as well. Power Trip I think Toxic Holocaust barely edges them out as far as my favorite modern thrash band. Obviously, you know, who knows what's going to be, you know, going on with Power Trip now. RIP, but, you know, if they do continue, I'll be interested. But, you know, who knows. But anyways, so that's my ranking for Toxic Holocaust. Like I said, great band. This is everything that they got right here. They only got 6 albums, and like I said, you could breeze through these, you know, in under 3 hours maybe, or close to it. I mean, there's just not a lot on there, but they stuff a lot of good shit in those 30 or sub 30-minute albums. So I would check them out if you haven't. And that's all I got for you, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much.